Life lessons you should understand before you are 60. Stoicism. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Be Marcus Aurelius. Are you prepared to confront the hard truths? Because this video isn't for those seeking comfort in illusions. Today we're diving into the essential life lessons you must grasp before hitting 60. Truths life will serve you without asking for permission. Reality waits for no one, and neither will these lessons. If you're waiting for the right moment, let me tell you, it doesn't exist. Life, as Stoicism teaches us, isn't about avoiding challenges but how we respond to them. These lessons are the roadmap to living with purpose and strength, no matter what age. Lesson number 10. It's going to change the way you look at your life entirely. But first, if you appreciate the wisdom of Stoicism, subscribe to Stoic in your life and hit the bell icon to stay connected. You won't want to miss any of these powerful insights. 1. Life won't wait for you. Time is like a river. You cannot touch the same water twice, because the flow that has passed will never pass again. Marcus Aurelius. Life doesn't wait for anyone. It moves forward relentlessly, whether you're ready or not. The truth is, time doesn't pause while you sort out your plans, your fears, or your doubts. Many people make the mistake of waiting for the perfect moment to act, whether it's starting a new venture, mending a relationship, or even taking a much-needed step towards self-improvement. But here's the harsh reality. That perfect moment? It doesn't exist. Life won't stand still while you wait to feel prepared. It continues on. And if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. As Seneca wisely said, while we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away. So instead of waiting, act now. Procrastination is the enemy of progress, and the more you wait, the more opportunities slip through your fingers. The lesson here is simple. Stop waiting for life to happen to you and start making life happen for you. Every moment you hesitate is a moment lost, a moment you'll never get back. Life is happening right now, not tomorrow, not next week, but at this very moment. And the sooner you embrace this truth, the more fulfilling your life will be. As you approach 60, this becomes even more crucial. Many men in their 30s, 40s, and 50s believe they still have plenty of time to accomplish their dreams. But here's the kicker. Time is finite. You don't have as much of it as you think. Think of life as a marathon, but one with an uncertain finish line. You can't predict when your race will end, but you can control how you run it. Waiting until the end of the race to sprint is a mistake. You need to start living fully now. The ancient Stoics remind us that you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius. This isn't meant to scare you, but to inspire urgency. Waiting for the right circumstances, for the stars to align, will only leave you with regret when the finish line suddenly appears. Remember that life is a series of lessons, not a destination. Each day offers a new opportunity to learn, grow, and become a better version of yourself. The Stoics believed that wisdom is a lifelong pursuit, and it's never too late to start. Whether you're 30, 40, or approaching 60, there's always something to be gained from embracing the wisdom of the Stoics. 2. The world moves on, no matter what. The world doesn't stop for anyone, and that's a fact we all need to come to terms with sooner rather than later. Whether you're facing a personal crisis, a career change, or just the ups and downs of life, the world keeps moving forward. Life doesn't pause for you to catch up, get your footing, or figure things out. And that's not meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. So often, we fall into the trap of thinking that our struggles or setbacks are unique, that we are somehow stuck while everyone else is moving forward with ease. But the truth is, everyone faces challenges. The difference between those who thrive and those who fall behind is how they respond to the world continuing to move, whether they choose to adapt or remain stuck. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This truth is especially relevant as you get older, approaching milestones like 60, where reflection becomes natural, and the question of how much time we have left becomes more pressing. But here's the thing. No matter how much we reflect or worry, the world continues to spin. The sun rises and sets, new opportunities emerge, and new challenges arise. You have the choice to either keep up or get left behind. What are you choosing? Consider a modern story that resonates with this lesson. Think of someone you know, or maybe it's even yourself, who faced a significant setback, like losing a job late in life or facing a health scare. It's natural to feel like the world should stop when something major happens. But what you quickly realize is that the bills still come, your responsibilities don't disappear, and the world around you keeps moving forward. Take, for example, someone who loses their job at 55, thinking they are too old to start over. They could easily give in to despair, thinking the world has passed them by, that they missed their chance. But what happens if they shift their mindset? What if they recognize that while the world keeps moving, so can they? They adapt, they learn new skills, they pivot, and suddenly, that setback becomes an opportunity for growth. They may even find a new career path that brings them more joy than they ever experienced before. How often have you seen people who, instead of staying stuck, use adversity as a stepping stone? "He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life," said Muhammad Ali, and this is the essence of growth in a constantly moving world. You can't wait for things to be perfect or for the world to slow down. You must learn to move with it. The Stoics teach us that change is the only constant, and resisting that change only leads to frustration. Think about how this applies to your own life. Have there been times when you wished you could pause everything and just take a breath to stop the world from spinning so fast? We all have, but the key is understanding that while we can't stop time, we can make the most of the time we have. One of the most profound lessons you can learn before you turn 60 is this: life moves whether you're ready or not. So why not prepare yourself to move with it? How often do we let fear, hesitation, or comfort hold us back? We convince ourselves that we'll wait until tomorrow or next week or next year. But as Seneca said, life is long if you know how to use it. The truth is, we have more time than we think, but only if we stop wasting it. When the world moves on, it's not just about keeping up with external events. It's about personal growth as well. How do you handle change in your own life? Do you cling to the past, wishing things would stay the same? Or do you embrace the flow of life and see where it takes you? This doesn't mean you should constantly chase after the next big thing, but rather, you should remain adaptable and open to the new experiences life presents. Take a moment and ask yourself, where in your life are you resisting change? What would happen if you stopped fighting the current and learned to swim with it instead? The lessons of Stoicism remind us that much of our suffering comes from wanting things to be different from how they are. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." As you continue to live and grow, especially as you approach significant milestones like turning 60, understand that the world's pace doesn't have to be your enemy. In fact, it can be your greatest teacher. Every day presents new opportunities for learning, for improvement, and for self-reflection. The key is to stop waiting for the world to align with your expectations and instead align yourself with the flow of life. This doesn't mean you give up control. It means you focus on the things you can control: your attitude, your actions, and your responses to what life throws at you. The world moves on, yes, but so can you. And in moving forward, you not only keep pace with life, but you also find yourself growing stronger and more resilient with each step. What would your life look like if you fully embraced this mindset? The most valuable lesson here is that the world will never stop moving, but that's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. The more you resist, the more you struggle. The more you adapt and flow with the changes around you, the more you'll find peace and progress. Whether you're 30, 40, or approaching 60, there's never a better time than now to recognize that life's momentum is your opportunity, not your obstacle. Keep moving forward, stay adaptable, and trust in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way. Because in the end, it's not the world's pace that matters. It's how you choose to walk your path within it. 3. Create your dream, or build someone else's. Creating your dream or building someone else's is one of the most important life lessons you should understand before turning 60, and it's something we don't often think about early enough. The reality is, if you don't have a clear vision for your own life, you'll inevitably end up living someone else's vision. This is the essence of what it means to take control of your destiny. If you don't set your own goals, if you don't dream big for yourself, you'll find yourself working hard to fulfill the dreams of others, whether it's your boss, a company, or even society's expectations of what your life should look like. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This is a simple yet profound call to action. Define your purpose before you allow the world to define it for you. What are you working toward? What kind of life are you building? It's time to get clear, because if you don't, the world will make that decision for you. Think about this for a moment. How many times have you found yourself putting in countless hours at work, pursuing goals that, when you stop and reflect, don't really belong to you? Maybe you're working to make a company more successful, or helping someone else achieve their ambitions, while your own dreams remain on the back burner. It's easy to fall into this trap. Society encourages us to play it safe, to take the path of least resistance, and before we know it, we're so far down that road that turning back feels impossible. But here's the thing. It's never too late to start building your own dream. What do you truly want out of life? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? If you're unsure, that's okay. But what's not okay is to keep drifting along, letting others dictate the course of your life. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop debating and start doing. The world will always pull you in different directions, but it's up to you to choose which direction you want to go. Consider this story. There was a man who worked for the same company for 40 years. He was diligent, reliable, and worked his way up the ladder, helping the business grow and succeed. But when he retired, he realized something shocking. He had spent his entire life building someone else's dream. The business flourished, but he had neglected his own passions, his own aspirations. This man's story is a cautionary tale for all of us. If you don't create your own dream, you'll spend your life helping someone else build theirs. What about you? Have you thought about whether you're on the path of creating your dream, or are you just part of someone else's vision? It's important to note that building your own dream doesn't mean quitting your job tomorrow or making drastic changes overnight. It starts with small, intentional steps. The first step is awareness, becoming conscious of where you are and where you want to go. Once you're aware, you can start to make decisions that align with your goals and dreams. Maybe it's pursuing a passion project in your spare time, starting a side business, or simply reevaluating how you spend your days. It could even mean shifting your mindset so that your current job becomes a tool to help you achieve your personal goals, rather than a life sentence to building someone else's empire. The key is to take control, to be the architect of your own life. Ask yourself, what steps can you take today to begin building your own dream? The Stoics believed in taking responsibility for one's own life and recognizing that while we can't control everything, we can always control our choices. As Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Too many people reach their later years filled with regret, wishing they had done more, taken more risks, pursued what truly mattered to them. Don't let that be you. The world moves fast, and if you're not careful, you'll find yourself looking back, wondering where the time went and why you didn't chase the dreams that once set your soul on fire. So, where does that leave us? The choice is yours. Will you create your dream, or will you continue to build someone else's? There's no right or wrong answer, but there is a cost to every decision. Building your own dream requires effort, courage, and persistence. It means stepping outside your comfort zone, facing your fears, and taking risks. But the reward? Living a life of purpose and fulfillment, knowing that you spent your time on this earth pursuing something that truly mattered to you. On the other hand, building someone else's dream may feel safer in the short term, but in the long run it often leads to regret and a sense of unfulfilled potential. It's all about priorities. What matters most to you? What are you willing to sacrifice to create the life you want? The Stoic approach to life teaches us that we are in control of our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, our destiny. We may not be able to control external events, but we can always control how we respond to them and what we choose to focus on. As you approach milestones like turning 60, or whatever stage of life you're in, it's crucial to take stock of where you are and where you want to go. Are you on the path of creating your dream? Or are you simply a cog in someone else's machine? There's no better time than now to take control of your life and start building something meaningful. The lesson is clear. Create your dream or build someone else's. The choice is yours, and the time to act is now. Don't let life pass you by while you're busy making someone else's vision a reality. You have the power, the talent, and the potential to create something truly great. But it starts with a decision to prioritize your own dreams and to take the necessary steps to bring them to life. As you move forward, keep the words of Marcus Aurelius in mind. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose to think big, choose to act, and most importantly, choose to create a life that is truly your own. 4. Achieve quietly, celebrate alone. In today's world, it often seems like success doesn't count unless everyone knows about it. Social media is full of people flaunting their wins, from career promotions to personal achievements, yet this need for external validation can diminish the true essence of success. Stoicism teaches us that the greatest victories are internal and need no applause from the crowd. The moment you focus on achieving for the sake of approval, you lose sight of the intrinsic value of your work. As Epictetus wisely said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." Meaning, those who boast loudly of their achievements often miss the opportunity to grow because they think they've already made it. The lesson here is to focus on your personal journey. Achieve quietly. The satisfaction of working towards a goal, overcoming challenges, and growing as a person should be its own reward. Life is not a performance to be judged by others, and chasing praise will only lead to emptiness. In the end, you should ask yourself, who are you really working for? Is it for the applause of the crowd, or is it for your own fulfillment? There's a certain dignity in quiet success. When you achieve for yourself, you free yourself from the need for validation and approval. This doesn't mean you shouldn't feel pride in your accomplishments, but it does mean that you should derive your satisfaction from the effort, growth, and results themselves, not from the acknowledgement of others. In modern life, we are constantly bombarded by the expectation to broadcast every moment of success. Whether it's a job promotion or personal milestone, we feel pressured to share it with the world, almost as if our success isn't real unless it's publicly acknowledged. But that's a falsehood. In reality, the most profound achievements are often those that happen when no one is watching. They are the victories you win over yourself, when you push past fear, doubt, and insecurity. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior, said Confucius. It's these personal battles that define true success, not the number of likes or congratulations you receive. Think of the person who works in silence, improving day by day, compared to the one who seeks constant recognition. The former builds a life of substance, while the latter becomes dependent on external validation to feel worthy. A modern-day example of this is the athlete who trains for years, waking up early, pushing their body to its limits with no one watching. Their victories are made in those silent hours of discipline and sweat, not in the few moments they stand on the podium. The quiet daily effort is where success is truly forged. When you achieve quietly, you cultivate a deeper sense of self-respect and discipline, knowing that you're doing the work for the right reasons. And when the success finally comes, you can celebrate it alone, not because you don't want to share it, but because you no longer need to. The celebration becomes a personal moment of reflection, where you acknowledge the effort, the struggle, and the growth, rather than seeking others' approval. In the words of Seneca, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Craving constant validation from others keeps you trapped in a cycle of seeking external rewards, rather than the true wealth of inner satisfaction. This principle can be applied in your everyday life, especially as you approach significant milestones like turning 60. At this point in life, many people realize that the validation they once sought from others no longer holds the same value. They start to reflect on their lives and question whether they were living for themselves or for the expectations of others. If you're always looking for recognition, you're handing over the reins of your happiness to external forces. True freedom comes when you learn to achieve quietly and celebrate alone because you're no longer tethered to the approval of others. Ask yourself, how many of your goals are driven by the desire to be seen or acknowledged? What would happen if you pursued your dreams purely for the satisfaction of personal growth, without the need for anyone else to recognize your success? Would you still find joy in your accomplishments? Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and what you can control is your own effort, your own attitude, and how you respond to the world. Whether others notice or not is irrelevant. What matters is that you notice. What matters? Don't explain your philosophy, embody it, said Epictetus, and that's the heart of quiet achievement. Don't talk about your plans and goals. Live them. Don't seek to prove anything to anyone but yourself. The moment you stop seeking validation from the outside world is the moment you truly step into your power. You become the creator of your own success, free from the opinions and judgments of others. There's immense power in knowing that you are enough, that your efforts and your growth are valid, even if no one else sees them. And when you do finally achieve those goals, you don't need to make a spectacle of it. Celebrating alone is not about isolation. It's about internal acknowledgement. It's about pausing and reflecting on how far you've come, understanding the growth that's happened within you. The best victories are those that change you from the inside out, the ones that no one else needs to witness because you've already felt their impact. To be even-minded is the greatest virtue, once said Heraclitus, reminding us that the peace of mind we gain from internal achievement is far more valuable than any external celebration. So next time you achieve something significant, resist the urge to seek out applause. Sit with it, reflect on it, and recognize the power of accomplishing for yourself. There's a quiet strength in this kind of achievement, a strength that allows you to remain grounded, focused, and always moving forward. When you celebrate alone, it's not about solitude. It's about independence. You've proven to yourself that you are enough, that your efforts matter, and that you don't need anyone else to validate your success. What could be more powerful than that? Remember, life is not about making noise. It's about making progress. Achieve quietly, celebrate alone, and know that in doing so, you are living according to the highest Stoic principles, free from the need for external praise and full of inner contentment. Thank you for joining us in today's video. Before we move on to the next segment, I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude to you. It's a pleasure to have you as a member of our community. Please feel free to share your story or personal impressions. Alternatively, if you're unsure of what to say, Simply leave a comment saying, "I am a newbie" if you've just joined us, or "I am Stoic" if you've been with us for a while. Your engagement not only signifies your presence, but also serves as a significant motivation for us. All right, let's continue this journey together to the fifth lesson. 5. Don't regret your past. The past cannot be changed, but the present can be shaped. Marcus Aurelius. One of the most important lessons to understand as you approach 60 or even earlier in life is this: don't regret your past. Regret can weigh heavily on the mind, causing us to lose focus on what we can control, the present and the future. It's easy to look back and think about missed opportunities, mistakes, or roads not taken, but regret doesn't serve you in any productive way. In fact, regret is one of the most pointless emotions because it fixates on something you can't change. Instead, as the Stoics remind us, you should focus on what you can change, your actions moving forward. As Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This quote speaks to the idea that even the chapters you wish you could rewrite have value because they brought you to where you are today. The past, with all its ups and downs, was necessary for your growth. So why spend time regretting it when you can use those lessons to build a better future? Consider a modern story. A man in his 50s looks back on his life and feels deep regret for not pursuing his passion for art. He chose a stable career in finance, thinking that it was the responsible choice. But now he wonders if it was worth it. His regret weighs on him, and he feels like it's too late to change anything. But here's the truth. It's never too late to start something new. Instead of regretting the years he spent in finance, he can take the lessons he learned, discipline, financial stability, networking, and apply them to a new phase of life. Perhaps now, with more experience and security, he's in a better position to follow his passion for art than he would have been in his 20s. The Stoics remind us that we must focus on what is within our control, and time is never wasted if we learn from it. Ask yourself, what would you do differently if you stopped regretting the past and started focusing on how you can grow from it? Regret can often cloud our ability to see the present clearly. We're so busy thinking about how things could have gone differently that we miss out on the opportunities right in front of us. The Stoics believed in the power of living in the present moment. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." This means that your actions, not your thoughts about the past, are what define you. The regrets you hold on to are merely thoughts. They have no power unless you give them power. The key is to take those thoughts and use them as fuel to make better choices today. What would happen if you forgave yourself for the mistakes of your past? How much lighter would you feel if you let go of the weight of regret and embraced the idea that your past was simply part of the journey to becoming who you are now? It's important to remember that everyone makes mistakes. Regret often stems from the unrealistic expectation that we should have known better. But how could we? At each point in life, we're making the best decisions we can with the information we have. The mistakes you've made were necessary for your growth. In fact, some of the greatest achievements in life come from learning from failure. Think about someone like Steve Jobs, who was fired from the company he founded, only to come back and turn Apple into one of the most successful companies in the world. He could have regretted his missteps and let that regret define him. Instead, he used that failure as a stepping stone to future success. Regret doesn't have to hold you back. It can propel you forward, as long as you choose to learn from it. A key question to ask yourself is, what have I gained from my past experiences, and how can I use those lessons to improve my future? When you shift your focus from regret to reflection, you start to see the value in your past mistakes. The Stoics believed that every experience, good or bad, shapes who we are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles we face, including the mistakes we regret, become the path to growth. If you spend all your energy wishing you could change the past, you miss out on the opportunity to use those very obstacles to advance in life. Let's think about this in terms of your own life. What regrets have been holding you back? Perhaps it's a failed relationship, a missed opportunity, or a career move that didn't pan out. Instead of focusing on how things could have been different, ask yourself what you've learned from those experiences. Maybe that failed relationship taught you what you truly need in a partner, or maybe that missed opportunity made you realize what you really value in life. The more you reflect on the lessons of the past, the more empowered you become to create a better future. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca once said, and this is particularly true when it comes to regret. We often blow our past mistakes out of proportion, thinking they define us when in reality they are just small parts of a much larger picture. As you approach 60, or whatever stage of life you're in, one of the most freeing things you can do is let go of regret. Life is too short to dwell on what you can't change. Instead, focus on what you can do today to live the life you want. Regret doesn't have to be a chain that holds you back. It can be a tool that helps you move forward, as long as you're willing to shift your perspective. Every experience has value, even the ones you wish had gone differently. The Stoics teach us that the only thing we truly have control over is our response to life's events. You can't change the past, but you can choose how you interpret it and what you do moving forward. The lesson here is simple but profound. Don't regret your past. Instead, learn from it, grow from it, and use it as a stepping stone to a better future. The time you spend regretting is time you could be using to build something new. So the next time you catch yourself thinking about what could have been, ask yourself instead, what can I do today to shape what's to come? Let go of regret, embrace the present, and remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Stop letting your past hold you back and start using it to propel you forward. Your best years are not behind you. They are still ahead if you choose to live without regret. 6. Strive to improve daily. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Seneca. One of the most profound lessons you should understand before turning 60 is the importance of daily self-improvement. Life at its core is about growth. If you're not growing, you're stagnating, and stagnation is a form of slow decline. The key to a fulfilling and meaningful life lies in the pursuit of bettering yourself each day. This doesn't mean you need to make massive, life-altering changes all at once. Instead, it's about the small, consistent actions that lead to real transformation over time. As you age, especially approaching 60, the need for continuous improvement becomes even more vital. Why? Because life isn't about reaching a final destination where everything is perfect. It's about the journey, the progress, and the steps you take to become a better version of yourself. Ask yourself, what are you doing today that's bringing you closer to the person you want to become? Improvement isn't always about learning new skills or advancing in your career. It's about becoming wiser, more resilient, and more in tune with who you are. Many people think that self-improvement is for the young, that after a certain age, growth slows down. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Improvement is a lifelong process. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This reminds us that even challenges, especially challenges, are opportunities to improve. As you face the inevitable struggles that come with life, particularly in your later years, they become a chance to reflect, learn, and grow stronger. Think of all the experiences you've had, the lessons you've learned. How can you use those lessons today to continue improving? Let's take a moment to relate this to modern life. Think about someone in their 50s or 60s who, despite the pressures of aging, remains dedicated to personal growth. They may have reached a level of success in their career, raised children, or built a life for themselves, but they aren't resting on their laurels. Instead, they're still setting goals. Whether it's learning a new hobby, improving their health, or developing a deeper understanding of themselves. This is the mindset of someone who understands the value of daily self-improvement. The moment you think you've reached your peak is the moment you start to decline. Why settle for less when you have the potential to keep growing? It's important to realize that improvement doesn't have to be dramatic to be meaningful. The Stoics emphasized the importance of incremental progress. Small changes done consistently lead to big results. Think about it this way. If you improve by just 1% every day by the end of the year, you will be 37 times better than you were at the start. This concept applies to all areas of life, whether it's your physical health, mental well-being, relationships, or career. Every day offers an opportunity to improve, even if only in small ways. As Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery over your own mind and habits is the ultimate form of freedom, and it is achieved through daily discipline and improvement. What's one small thing you can do today that your future self will thank you for? A powerful example of daily self-improvement can be found in the life of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, a place where it would have been easy to lose hope or fall into despair. But instead, Mandela used that time to improve himself, mentally and spiritually. He read, he studied, and he prepared himself for the day he would be released. When that day came, he emerged not as a bitter man, but as a leader ready to forgive and build a better future. This is the power of self-improvement. It transforms not only your circumstances, but your very being. Mandela's story teaches us that even in the darkest of times, there is always room for growth. How can you use the challenges in your life as a stepping stone for your own improvement? Self-improvement isn't just about achieving personal goals. It's also about becoming more compassionate, understanding, and present in the world around you. The Stoics believe that we are all part of a larger community, and that our individual growth contributes to the betterment of society as a whole. Marcus Aurelius said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings no benefit to the bee." This reminds us that when we improve ourselves, we also improve the lives of those around us. Whether it's being a better partner, a more supportive friend, or a wiser mentor, your personal growth has a ripple effect on the people you interact with. What kind of impact do you want to leave on the world, and how can your daily actions bring you closer to that? One key aspect of self-improvement is reflection. Take time each day to reflect on your actions, your thoughts, and your progress. The Stoics practice this through daily journaling and self-examination. At the end of each day, Marcus Aurelius would reflect on what he did, what he could have done better, and how he could improve tomorrow. This simple practice is something you can incorporate into your life. It helps you stay accountable to your goals and keeps you mindful of the areas where you can grow. How often do you take the time to truly reflect on your day? If you're not making time for reflection, how can you know if you're improving? The lesson is clear. Never stop striving to improve. Whether you're 30 or 60, there is always room for growth. The pursuit of self-improvement is not just a task to check off your to-do list. It's a way of life, a mindset that keeps you moving forward. It's about understanding that perfection is not the goal, but progress is. As you continue your journey in life, remember that each day is a new opportunity to become a little bit better than you were yesterday. So, what will you do today to ensure that you're growing? Will you take that small step even if it seems insignificant, knowing that it's part of a larger path to self-mastery? As the Stoics teach us, true wisdom comes not from being the best, but from striving to be better. Let this guide you as you embrace the power of daily improvement. 7. Free yourself from others' advice. If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment of them, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. Marcus Aurelius. One of the most liberating lessons you must understand before turning 60 is learning how to free yourself from others' advice. Throughout your life, You've probably received countless pieces of advice from friends, family, co-workers, and even strangers. While some of it may have been helpful, a lot of it likely wasn't. As you approach later stages in life, it's crucial to discern whose advice truly benefits you and whose does not. More importantly, it's essential to develop the confidence and wisdom to trust your own judgment, rather than constantly seeking external validation. The Stoics remind us that we are the masters of our own minds, and to live a life shaped by the opinions of others is to lose control over the most fundamental aspect of our existence, our own thoughts and choices. What would your life look like if you stopped letting other people's opinions dictate your path? We live in a world where everyone has an opinion. Whether it's advice on your career, relationships, or how you should live your life, people are always ready to tell you what they think is best for you. But here's the thing. Nobody knows your life as intimately as you do. It's easy to get caught up in what others think you should do, especially when it comes from well-meaning sources like family or close friends. However, there's a difference between listening to advice and being bound by it. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We are disturbed not by things, but by the views which we take of them." This means that it's not the advice itself that causes confusion or frustration, but how we interpret and internalize it. If you constantly seek others' approval or rely too heavily on their guidance, you end up living a life that is not truly yours. What would happen if you trusted your own instincts and learned to silence the noise from those around you? In modern life, with access to so much information and the ability to communicate with people around the globe, the noise of others' opinions has never been louder. Whether it's advice from social media influencers, news articles, or even the opinions of your peers, it can become overwhelming. And the more you listen to everyone else, the more disconnected you become from your own inner voice. At some point, you need to ask yourself, whose life are you living? Yours or someone else's? This doesn't mean that all advice is bad or that you should never seek guidance. In fact, seeking wisdom from those who have more experience can be valuable. But the key is learning how to filter that advice, take what serves you, and discard the rest. You don't need to follow every piece of advice that comes your way. In fact, doing so can cause more harm than good, leading to indecision and confusion. How often have you felt paralyzed by trying to weigh all the opinions you've received instead of simply trusting your own judgment? Think about someone who has spent their whole life following the advice of others, whether it was choosing a career they weren't passionate about because it was considered stable, or entering a relationship because it was what others expected of them. Over time, they may find themselves unfulfilled, wondering why they don't feel satisfied despite seemingly doing all the right things. That's because they were living someone else's dream, not their own. When you base your life on the expectations and advice of others, you risk losing touch with what you truly want. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have, said Epictetus. And this applies to advice as well. The more weight you give to external opinions, the less control you have over your own decisions. A powerful example of this can be seen in the life of Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. He famously said, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life." Jobs was known for his fierce independence and belief in following his own vision, even when others doubted him. Imagine if he had listened to the naysayers, to those who thought his ideas were too radical, or that he should conform to the expectations of the tech industry. Apple, as we know it today, might not even exist. This isn't to say that you should ignore all advice, but rather that you should be selective about whose guidance you follow and when to rely on your own intuition. What's one decision in your life where you relied on others' advice instead of your own gut feeling? And how would things have turned out differently if you had trusted yourself? The truth is, no one else is living your life. Only you know your desires, your strengths, your limitations, and your dreams. While others may mean well, their advice often comes from their own experiences, biases, and fears. What worked for someone else may not necessarily work for you. That's why it's crucial to cultivate the ability to listen to yourself, to trust that you are capable of making the best decisions for your own life. This doesn't mean you'll always be right, but it does mean you'll be living a life that's true to who you are, rather than constantly trying to meet the expectations of others. Ask yourself, how much of your current life is a result of following someone else's advice, and how much of it is a result of following your own path? Ultimately, freeing yourself from others' advice is about learning to trust yourself. It's about recognizing that while guidance can be useful, you are the final authority in your life. It's your decisions, your actions, and your experiences that shape who you are. As you approach 60, or whatever stage of life you're in, it becomes even more important to live authentically. You've gained enough life experience to know what works for you and what doesn't. You don't need the constant input of others to validate your choices. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. In other words, your thoughts shape your reality, so make sure those thoughts are truly your own and not a reflection of others' opinions. Free yourself from the need to constantly seek or rely on others' advice. Trust that you are capable of making the best decisions for your own life. Learn to listen to your inner voice, filter the advice you receive, and only keep what truly serves you. At the end of the day, you are the one who will live with the consequences of your choices, not those who offered advice along the way. So why not take ownership of your life and live it according to your terms? What's one piece of advice you've been given that you're ready to let go of? Now is the time to start trusting yourself and create a life that reflects your true desires, free from the opinions and judgments of others. If you've made it this far, you're on the path to wisdom. Drop a comment saying, "I am growing every day," to show you're committed to embracing these life lessons. Stay tuned, there's more insight ahead. 8. Control your emotions. Controlling your emotions is one of the most important life lessons you must master before you turn 60, or even earlier. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can always control how we react. It's easy to feel that emotions like anger, fear, and frustration are things that happen to us, but the truth is, we allow them to take control when we forget our power over our reactions. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the heart of emotional control. Life will throw countless challenges your way, from personal failures to difficult relationships to unexpected tragedies. But your emotions don't have to rule you. The real strength lies in how you respond to those challenges with grace, poise, and clarity of thought. How different would your life be if you were able to master your emotions instead of letting them master you? We live in a world where emotional reactions are often celebrated. In moments of stress or conflict, people tend to lash out, letting their emotions dictate their behavior, and it's even seen as a sign of authenticity. However, losing control of your emotions doesn't solve anything. It only makes things worse. Let's think about a modern-day example. In the workplace, you may have a boss who constantly pushes your buttons, a colleague who undermines you, or a situation where stress levels run high. It's natural to feel anger or frustration, but what happens when you let those emotions take over? You snap, say something you regret, or make decisions clouded by those feelings. But if you're able to step back, pause, and control your emotional response, the outcome is completely different. You maintain your professionalism, think clearly, and handle the situation with maturity. What if you applied this same control to all areas of your life, especially in your personal relationships? Stoicism teaches that emotions are neither good nor bad in themselves, but it's how we handle them that matters. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is crucial. It's not about denying or suppressing emotions, it's about acknowledging them, understanding their root, and choosing not to let them dictate your actions. Anger, for example, often arises from feeling disrespected or threatened. Instead of letting that anger consume you, a Stoic would take a moment to reflect, ask why they are feeling this way, and then decide how to respond in a way that aligns with their values and long-term goals. This doesn't mean you don't feel emotions, it means you don't let them control you. How often do you let emotions drive your actions, only to regret it later. What would change if you took a moment to breathe and respond instead of react? Consider the story of Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist who famously wrote about the power of choice in extreme situations. In the concentration camps, Frankl realized that while he couldn't control the horrific circumstances around him, he could control his internal response. He chose to find meaning even in suffering, and that gave him strength. This is a profound example of emotional control in the most unimaginable circumstances. While most of us won't face such extreme conditions, the principle remains the same. You always have the choice to control your reaction, no matter how intense the situation may be. Whether it's losing a job, dealing with personal loss, or navigating everyday stressors, you can decide whether to let your emotions overpower you or to channel them productively. How different would your life look if you took control of your emotions like Frankl did in his darkest moments? In modern life, emotional control is often misunderstood as emotional suppression. Some people believe that controlling your emotions means bottling them up and pretending they don't exist. But this is far from the truth. Emotional control is about acknowledging your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. It's about being self-aware enough to recognize when an emotion is rising and then using reason to guide your response. This is a skill that can be learned and practiced daily. When you feel frustration bubbling up because someone cuts you off in traffic, or anxiety creeping in before a big presentation, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what is within my control here? You can't control the actions of others, but you can control your reaction to them. You can choose peace over anger, calm over panic, and patience over frustration. What is one area of your life where you could start practicing more emotional control? The Stoics believe that true freedom comes from mastering your emotions, because once you have control over how you react to life's challenges, external circumstances lose their power over you. As Seneca put it, a wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. This quote speaks to the heart of emotional control, accepting things as they are without letting your desires, frustrations, or fears take over. It's a mindset of resilience and inner peace. Whether you're dealing with a difficult relationship, financial worries, or even the physical challenges of aging, controlling your emotions allows you to face those challenges with clarity and calmness. Instead of reacting impulsively and later regretting it, you respond thoughtfully, making choices that align with your true values. Isn't that a better way to live? As you approach 60, or whatever stage of life you're in, learning to control your emotions is a vital skill that brings immense peace and wisdom. You've probably faced enough emotional turmoil by now to know that reacting impulsively rarely leads to good outcomes. Whether it's snapping at a loved one, making a rash financial decision out of fear, or letting stress dictate your health, uncontrolled emotions can lead you down paths you'd rather avoid. But it's never too late to start practicing emotional control. The next time you feel a strong emotion rising, pause, reflect, and ask yourself, is this emotion helping or hurting me right now? That simple question can shift your mindset and put you back in control. How much more peaceful would your life be if you consistently practiced this? The specific lesson here is clear. Control your emotions. Don't let them control you. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless or detached, but rather becoming emotionally intelligent, knowing when to act, when to pause, and when to let go. Life is full of unexpected challenges and difficult situations, but your emotional response is always within your control. By mastering this, you free yourself from the chaos of external circumstances and gain the clarity and strength to live a life aligned with your true values. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Choose to think clearly, act calmly, and let your emotions serve you rather than rule you. What would your life look like if you truly mastered your emotions? And how much more peaceful could your days be if you practiced this daily? Let this be your guide as you move forward, controlling your emotions and finding the freedom that comes with it. 9. Admire, don't envy others. Admiring others is one of the most powerful lessons you should understand before you turn 60, or really at any age. It's natural to look at the people around you, those who have achieved great success, who seem to have it all together, and feel a sense of envy. Maybe you see someone who's made it in their career, or a friend with a seemingly perfect family life, or even a person who travels the world while you're tied to your daily routine. But here's the truth. Envy only takes away from your own life. It diminishes your self-worth and makes you focus on what you lack, instead of what you have or can build. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This speaks directly to the core of envy. It's the endless craving for what others have that blinds us to our own potential and blessings. What would your life look like if instead of feeling envious you learned to admire others and use their success as inspiration for your own growth? Let's take a step back and really think about it. When you admire someone's accomplishments, you're not diminishing your own. In fact, by seeing someone else's achievements as something to learn from, you're enriching your own experience. Envy, on the other hand, creates a negative mindset that traps you in feelings of inadequacy. It makes you believe that someone else's success somehow takes away from your own potential, but this is a false narrative. Everyone's journey is different, and the success of others doesn't lessen your value. In modern life, especially with social media, it's easy to fall into the comparison trap. You see people sharing their highlights, their vacations, their promotions, their picture-perfect moments, and you start to feel like you're falling behind. But remember, what you see is only a small slice of their life. You don't know the challenges they've faced, the sacrifices they've made, or the struggles they hide behind their success. So, why waste energy envying them? Why not admire their perseverance and let it inspire your own efforts? Admiring others opens the door to learning. When you feel envy, it clouds your ability to learn from those you envy. But when you admire, you're acknowledging that someone has done something well, and you can learn from that. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine you have a colleague who consistently performs well at work and gets promoted. Instead of feeling resentful or envious, you can admire their work ethic and learn from their habits. Maybe they're highly organized, disciplined, or always willing to go the extra mile. What can you take from their approach to improve your own performance? Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By shifting your mindset from envy to admiration, you open yourself up to growth. What if you started seeing the success of others not as a threat, but as a source of motivation to improve yourself? Envy also creates unnecessary competition, and the truth is, life isn't a race. There's no finish line where one person's success diminishes the potential for someone else's. Yet many of us fall into the trap of thinking that there's a limited amount of success in the world, that if someone else achieves something, it somehow blocks our own path to success. But success is not a zero-sum game. There's enough to go around. The Stoics believed that we should focus on our own path, rather than worrying about what others are doing. As Epictetus once said, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." So instead of wasting time envying others, why not focus on improving your own journey? What is something you could achieve if you stopped comparing yourself to others and put all your energy into your own growth? Here's a story that illustrates this well. There were two runners who trained for years to qualify for a marathon. One runner always compared himself to others, constantly feeling envious of those who ran faster, who seemed to have better gear, or who received more praise. The other runner focused solely on his own improvement, admiring others' strengths without letting it distract him from his personal goals. On the day of the race, it was the second runner who performed better, not because he was the fastest, but because he had been competing against himself all along, pushing himself to be better every day. The first runner, weighed down by envy, had spent so much time comparing himself to others that he never fully focused on his own training. This story teaches us that admiring others while staying committed to our own journey brings more success and fulfillment. What would happen if you focused on your race instead of someone else's? By the time you're nearing 60 or whatever stage you're in, you've likely had your share of successes and failures. You've seen others rise and fall, and perhaps you've even felt envy for the achievements of those around you. But think about it. Has envy ever truly benefited you? Has it ever made you feel better or more fulfilled? The answer is likely no. Envy is a thief of joy and a distraction from what really matters, your own growth and happiness. When you learn to admire others instead of envying them, you free yourself from this toxic cycle. You become more focused on your own goals, and you develop a sense of gratitude for the journey you're on. Every success you achieve, no matter how small, becomes a step forward in your personal growth. What's one area of your life where you can start practicing admiration over envy? In conclusion, the lesson here is simple yet transformative. Admire, don't envy others. When you admire, you open yourself to learning, to growth, and to gratitude. When you envy, you close yourself off to all of these things and focus on what you lack instead of what you can achieve. The success of others is not a threat to your own potential. It's an opportunity for you to be inspired. As you move forward in life, especially as you approach milestones like 60, take a step back and ask yourself, how can I admire the achievements of others and use them as fuel for my own growth? By shifting your mindset, you not only free yourself from the burden of envy, but you also pave the way for your own success and fulfillment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. That privilege includes the ability to admire others, to learn from them, and to continue growing on your own unique path. So who can you admire today, and how will you let their success inspire you on your journey? 10. Find inner peace. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Marcus Aurelius. So much of modern life is chaotic, rushed schedules, constant notifications, external pressures, and the never-ending chase for more. Yet none of this truly satisfies. The Stoics believed that peace doesn't come from what's happening around you, but from what's happening inside you. This means no matter what challenges or turbulence you face in life, you have the power to cultivate calm within. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what would my life look like if I could find peace amidst the noise? The concept of inner peace is often misunderstood. Many think that peace is something that can be found in external conditions, like when you've achieved financial stability, a perfect relationship, or the right balance between work and leisure. But as the Stoics remind us, external circumstances are always in flux. Seneca once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This speaks to the heart of inner peace. It's about being content with where you are, no matter what the outside world throws at you. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. That's where your power lies. How often have you thought that if only one more thing fell into place, then you'd finally feel at peace? What if the peace you're looking for is something you can create for yourself right now, regardless of your circumstances? In our fast-paced world, the pressure to be constantly moving, achieving, and doing more can pull us further away from peace. We live in a culture that values productivity over presence, where we often mistake busyness for success. But peace isn't found in how much you accomplish. It's found in the quiet moments of stillness when you let go of the need to control everything. Inner peace requires you to detach from the constant pursuit of external validation and find contentment in the present moment. The Stoics practiced this by focusing on what they could control, their thoughts, actions, and responses, and letting go of everything else. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Inner peace, then, is a choice. It's a decision to focus on the things within your control and release the rest. What would change in your life if you decided to stop worrying about the things you can't control? Let's think about this in the context of modern life. How many times have you felt stressed or anxious because of things completely outside your control? Maybe it's the economy, a difficult boss, or a family situation that's causing you distress. These are real challenges, but your peace doesn't have to be tied to these circumstances. Inner peace comes when you accept that while you can't change every situation, you can change how you respond to it. It's about cultivating a mindset of resilience and calm no matter what's happening around you. In many ways, inner peace is like building a strong foundation for your life. No matter how rough the storms get, that foundation keeps you grounded. But this foundation isn't something that appears overnight. It's built through daily practices of mindfulness, gratitude, and acceptance. What's one area of your life where you've been chasing external solutions instead of focusing on cultivating inner peace? Consider the story of Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison under harsh conditions, separated from his family, stripped of his freedom, and faced with unimaginable hardship. Yet, during this time, Mandela worked on himself internally. He didn't allow bitterness or anger to consume him. Instead, he found peace within, even in the most unjust circumstances. When he was finally released, he emerged not as a man full of hatred, but as a leader ready to bring peace to a divided nation. Mandela's story teaches us that peace isn't something you wait for the world to hand you. It's something you create from within. And if Mandela could find inner peace in those conditions, what's stopping you from finding peace in your life right now? Stoicism teaches that peace comes from aligning your thoughts and actions with your values. When you live according to your true principles, there's a sense of harmony between who you are and how you behave. This alignment brings inner peace because you're no longer at war with yourself. Many of us feel internal conflict because we know we're not living in accordance with what we truly believe. Maybe you're in a job that doesn't align with your values, or you're behaving in ways that don't reflect your true character. This disconnect creates unrest within. The way to find peace is to bring your actions into alignment with your values. Ask yourself, are you living in a way that honors who you really are? If not, what steps can you take to change that? True peace comes when there's no dissonance between who you want to be and how you're living. As you approach 60 or whatever age you are, finding inner peace becomes even more important. You've experienced enough of life to know that external achievements, while fulfilling in the short term, don't bring lasting peace. That comes from within. It comes from letting go of the need to control everything and accepting life as it unfolds. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So, what thoughts are you cultivating each day? Are you filling your mind with worry and stress about things outside your control? Or are you focusing on the things you can change? Your mindset, your attitude, your actions. The specific lesson here is that finding inner peace is about embracing the power you have over your own mind. It's not about waiting for the world to calm down or for everything in your life to be perfect. It's about learning to be calm in the midst of life's storms. Inner peace is something you cultivate through mindfulness, through aligning your actions with your values, and through letting go of the things that are beyond your control. As you move forward in life, ask yourself, what's keeping me from peace? Is it something external? Or is it my own reaction to those external things? By shifting your focus inward, you can begin to build a deep sense of calm and contentment that stays with you, no matter what life throws your way. And isn't that the ultimate goal? To find peace that isn't dependent on circumstances, but is rooted deep within you? As you reflect on these life lessons, remember that Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of living that helps you grow stronger, wiser, and more content, no matter your age. So why not start applying these principles to your daily life today? Whether you're facing challenges, searching for peace, or simply trying to be a better version of yourself, these lessons are here to guide you. Take action now and share in the comments how you're going to incorporate Stoicism into your life. If you made it this far, type "stronger every day" in the comments to let me know you're committed to your personal growth. Don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Hit the notification bell and join our community of thinkers and doers. Let's keep growing together. See you in the next video.